Hello, how's everybody doing today? Let's see, what is today? Today is November 20th, and it is exactly noon. I mean, how often do I actually get that right? That it's like, you know, exactly starting right on time. Like, I was watching the little countdown and hit zero, and I hit go live. I almost missed it. What happens is I get here like so early, and then I need to do something else because I can't just sit here and stare at the screen for 10, 15, 20 minutes, you know, but I want to make sure I'm early and I'm not late, and then I end up getting sidetracked. But I got here on time today. All right. Hello, Sarah. And it looks like we have people over in Instagram have joined. Awesome. Very cool. Um, and Sarah does the same thing. So some of you may have noticed. Oh, hello, Monique. Awesome. So we've now had people check in from all three platforms. That's great. Um, those of you who follow on Instagram may have noticed a little while ago there was a link for a form where people who want to be guests on the live here can sign up. So if you know, I'm going to make a community tab on Crochet Foundry. That's actually something I'm working on this week. So I'll remind you guys again next week as well because it will be up by then. The deal with the community tab will be there'll be, information about the lives and information about the sit and stitches, and then other things that I think you as a community might like directories of charities, organizations that you can crochet or knit or craft for. I'll probably do like a category for crochet, a category for crochet and knit, and then a category for like crafts in general. I don't know. I'll figure it out when I have the list, right? And then there'll also be the form that people can fill out if they want to be a guest here. So if take this week, do some brainstorming. Somebody you would love to see as a guest here. Could be a designer. It could be somebody, a yarn dyer, a spinner, an artisan who makes some sort of notions or items that are used with crochet or crochet adjacent. Maybe it's somebody who makes these absolutely fabulous, wooden buttons or Dorset. That's the name, Dorset buttons. Have you guys seen Dorset buttons? Oh my goodness, so cool, right? Um, so anybody like that who would be a good guest would be great. And it might even be somebody who's not necessarily a designer or a supplier, but maybe it's just a crocheter with an absolutely fabulous story about, how crocheting for craft fairs managed to, save them from losing their house, or just somebody who was having really hard time, mentally, and started crocheting, and it helped them a lot. Just anybody you think would be interesting to have as a guest. So brainstorm those, and this week I am getting the community tab set up on Crochet Foundry, and the form where people can apply to be a guest on the Crochet Foundry Live will live there. It will be linked there, and so you can have them fill it out. Okay, have them fill it out. Unless they specifically ask you to fill it out for them, don't like volunteer people. All right. Is that then I have to take the time to contact them only to find out they have no idea why I'm contacting them. So have them fill it out, please. But since this is for you, I would love to have guests that you would like to see, which is why I'm asking you guys to, brainstorm those things and then let people know so they can fill that in. All right. There was something else. I don't remember. Oh, maybe I was going to tell you about this. This is we talked about it last week. I'm saying a lot today. This is the blanket poncho from the October issue of Crochet Foundry, designed by Jenny King. So I was chilly. Well, it started getting chilly recently, so I I put this on Monday, and it's just been living on my chair. So, and it's awesome. It's nice and warm. It's Premier Puzzle Cotton, and it's nice and it's warm, and it's like a really good size, and it keeps me cozy. And I kind of wrap the little things this way and keep myself warm. So, it's kind of cool. All right, and then today you may have seen in the let's see, yes, it is gorgeous, isn't it? Um, Look at my background. I'm a mess. I cleaned this like 3 days ago. This was all cleaned off, and then I kept pulling stuff back out again. And I made some videos yesterday, and like, I mean, I work here, people. Sorry, I work here. This is just the way it is. I know I am working on being a neater human, but I'm also need to be a productive human. Sometimes being neater helps with the productivity. I know. Anyway, the video I made yesterday was this, which is different ways of putting beads in your crochet. So this first way right here is, so yeah, if you read the description on Facebook or YouTube, you saw that, that's what we're going to talk about today, with some beading with this. And Monique loves the blanket poncho and my shirt. Knit the Rainbow, knit, crochet, resist, repeat. Knittherainbow.org. There's a place you can crochet or knit for. Um, so this technique is adding the beads as you're working a stitch. And these are single crochets, and the beads are put on to the very top of the stitch. I'll show you this in a moment, in a bit. This section here that's at the top now are also adding the beads as you work, and they're actually put in the, when you insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, they're added onto that loop after you pull it up, and it kind of replaces the stitch, which is really nifty. Then this section here that's at the top now, these are pre-strung beads, and they are put on the wrong side of a row. So the rows that have beads are actually wrong side rows, and these are pre-strung beads, and they are added on the right side row. So these beads here that are very horizontal are, when you're making a right side row, you slide the beads on, and that's on pre-strung beads. So I have some pre-strung beads here, and you know what I'm realizing? First of all, I dropped my other ball of yarn. Here we go. Because I didn't actually start I did not actually start a little crochet section to do this. So I can I'll do the pre-strung first, and I'll just do some on top of this. So I'm going to do the pre-strung first since I have some pre-strung, and then I'll show you the other ones. I have more of these behind me that are not pre-strung. Okay. Just pulling out some yarn. And I'll just do like one row of each. I'm all like scatticky and droppy. I just dropped my sample that I was about to use. Hold on, picking it up. Whee! All right. So we're going to just start off with, do y'all know how to do foundation crochet? So we're going to start off with a foundation single crochet, all right? So I start off with just like 2 chains. Let's see. I'm going to spin the other direction. Ah, right? All right, so we start off with two chains, and then I'm going to insert into the bottom chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to make a little chain. So I'm just going to yarn over, pull up another loop. I'm going to pinch that chain I just made so that I don't lose it, and then yarn over, pull through two. So that part is my single crochet, but there was a chain first. So now I'm going to insert my hook into the chain that I made, yarn over, pull up a loop, make another chain, pinch that one, yarn over, pull through two. Okay, and then I'm going to do that again, insert my hook into the chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then make another chain. So yarn over, pull through one, and pinch that chain I just made and make my single crochet by yarning over and pulling through two. And I'm just going to keep doing that for a little bit here. Okay, and I just always pinch this little chain that I make first. So all you're doing is you're making a chain and then you're making your stitch. So, you know, it's just a quick way to make that very first row. And I also find that, I didn't pinch that one enough, and now I have to finagle. There we go. I also find that a foundation single crochet or foundation any row, it tends to just have a better stretch than starting with, it tends to have better stretch than starting with a row of chains. So I really do prefer starting off with a foundation row like this when it's something that I want to make sure that the it has a little bit of stretch. That's, Sarah just said it here. It's way more stretchy than a chain start. Yes, exactly. See, I have my back to you, so I didn't see Sarah saying it, but we agree. All right, so now I'm just going to do this one last one, and then we'll do a couple of those techniques. So how many do I have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right. So we are going to chain one, single crochet in the first two. All right. So now let's do the adding a bead on the wrong side of a row. So I'm currently making my single crochet, and what I'm going to do is slide my bead. I finished one single crochet. All right, I finished a non-beaded single crochet. I'm now going to slide my bead all the way up. Okay, I slid the bead all the way up, and now I'm just going to make a single crochet. So I'm inserting my hook into the next stitch, and I'm going to yarn over, and so the bead is just hanging out in the back there. Pull through, yarn over, pull through two. And guys, I have made a tutorial for this, okay? I'll explain to you in a bit where you're going to be able to find it. It's going to be a little, you're going to be able to get it in the December issue of Crochet Foundry, and then in January it'll be on the blog, and in December it'll be in the members area, for those of you who have a membership. But I'm just showing you a little bit now, and there's a written tutorial and also a video tutorial. So that way, you guys, it's the video tutorial is obviously the overhead with a really good camera view angle and everything, as opposed to, you know, me sitting backwards and trying to talk to you while I'm doing this. So, and what I need to do is I should get a second webcam so I can have an overhead camera while I'm doing these lives as well, because right now my overhead camera here is actually a camcorder. So now I'm just going to do another single crochet without a bead because these beads are kind of giant. Actually, maybe we'll do 2 of them, okay? Or 3. Why don't we do 3 of them? And then that way we can deal with this later. Okay, and now I'm going to, again, I want to put a bead in this next one, so I'm just going to slide the bead all the way up against the last stitch that I made, and then make another single crochet, insert my hook into the next stitch, yarn over, and the bead is just hanging out behind my work, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And then let's make the last 2 single crochet. All right. And ta-da! There we go. Beads on the wrong side of the row. Beads on the wrong side of the work. So that means if you're working in the round, then your beads you're going to have to always have the wrong side of the row on the outside, or you can be working your right side rows when you don't have beads, and when you do have a bead, just when you join the round, turn and work the next round is on the wrong side, and then when you're done with the bead round, turn again and work a non-beaded round on the right side. You can still turn your work when you're working in, I'm just going to make a solid single crochet row here or two while we're talking. You can still turn your work when you're working in the round, all right? You don't have to always go in the same direction when you're working in the round. So that's, there aren't any rules that say you can't do that. And if there are, you can ignore them. I give you permission to ignore most of the rules. Pretty much all of the rules when it comes to crochet can be ignored as long as you understand the consequences. If you yarn under instead of yarning over, things are going to look different. If you don't do a gauge swatch, it's not necessarily going to fit. And whenever you change a rule and you're working from a pattern, you can no longer, you can't get mad at the pattern writer that it didn't work if you changed it. But you can still ignore their rules if you want to. All right, Janet Fairchild Scott says, thank you. You are welcome. And I'll tell you again, guys, when we're done with these little tutorials real quick, I'll tell you where you'll be able to find these in the magazine and online. The next one is going to have the beads on the right side of the row. So I just need to do 2 rows here so that they'll be on the same side. Not that it's like a big deal when I'm just kind of showing you real quick, but still. And you'll notice with these, okay, which is the same as this, what is currently at the top here, as this set of beads that I added on the wrong side of a row that's a good question, I'll get right to it, they're at a bit of an angle. So they angle from bottom right to top left if you're working right-handed, and if you're working left-handed, they'll angle from bottom left to top right. Okay? And here we go. So Monique asks, how do we know what size bead is best? Okay, well, I can tell you right now, the beads that I'm currently using here are a little bit big for this yarn, okay? But because this is all set up from when I made the video, I wanted everything I wanted to have a nice contrast in the colors, and I wanted to make sure that the beads were big enough and everything was big enough that you could see. And this yarn, which is the Bernat Maker yarn, they do actually make it in a chunky, it's right here. The Yarnspirations Bernat Maker, I think is just fab for sample, for videos and stuff, because it's got awesome stitch definition, and it frogs really well. And when I'm making video tutorials and stuff, I frog a lot. Sometimes I'll make the tutorial, like in this situation, I did the video tutorial with I did 4 rows of beads for each sample, for each style. And I did like the video tutorial for the first or second row. And then I did the photo tutorial for the next one. So I didn't have to frog it, but sometimes when I'm doing something like this, I'll do the video tutorial, then I'll frog it and do the photo tutorial. Sometimes I'll make 2. It all kind of it depends. Because this I'm going to keep, and which is why I made it all nice like this, right? I'll weave in the ends, and I'll find a place to put it so that I always have it nice to show people. But sometimes it's just, it just becomes, I just toss it when I'm done if I'm doing a tutorial. You never, actually, I no longer toss my yarn, even the samples. I have a bag that I've just been putting all the scrap yarn into, because when I do make little medieval Roman dolls and stuff, I use the scrap yarn and bits of fabric and stuff to stuff them. As far as how you know what size bead is best, is you have to decide what the look you want is and try it out and see. The reason I say this is probably a little big is because this bead is bigger than a single crochet is in this yarn. Probably not what you want. Probably a pony bead would be perfect for a worsted weight yarn if you want it to be the size of your single crochet. But you might want even smaller beads. I have things that I've beaded where the bead is I very often use a 6 or 8 bead for for crochet. And so you know, the numbers for the bead sizes, it's how many beads fit in an inch. So a smaller number is actually a larger bead. So a size 6 bead, there are 6 of them in an inch. If you lay them, if you just like string them together and hold them together, there's 6 in an inch. A size 8 bead, there's 8 in an inch. So an 8 bead is an eighth of an inch wide, from, you know, going from the hole to the hole is an eighth of an inch, and a 4 bead is a quarter inch wide, going from hole to hole. These are probably a 3 bead. There's probably only about 3 of these in an inch. I don't think it's quite half an inch, but definitely bigger than a quarter. So we're going to say it might be like a 3 bead. All right. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to put a bead on the front of your stitch if you are using pre-strung beads. Okay, so let me pull one of these beads up. I just did 2 stitches here. So now this is where you get to break a roll and do a yarn under. Here, let me turn this off. And Julie's likes our work. It says good afternoon and bless. All right, so I've made my beads. I'm about to start my bead on the right side of the work. So what I'm going to do is slide that bead all the way up to my work. And I'm now going to hold my yarn in front of my work. See that? The yarn is in front of my work instead of behind. Shh, don't tell anybody. Now we're going to insert our hook into the next stitch. Now what we're going to do is take this yarn and wrap it over our work, then under and around the crochet hook. So we've made a yarn under. And I kind of hold it out of my way here and then pull the stitch through. And then I just kind of pull it up to tighten this part and then pull my yarn a little bit to tighten the loop again. You know, that way it kind of fixes that extra thread yarn that I had there because I was finagling it. And now I finish my single crochet by yarning over, pulling through both. So let me do that again. All right, so let's do that one more time. Slide this little sucker up here. Whee! So I'm ready to do my next stitch. All right, I'm sliding the stitch, the bead all the way to the front, all the way to my work, and leaving it hanging in front of the work, inserting my hook into the next stitch, and then I'm going to take my yarn, put it over to the back of the work, yarn under and around my hook, pull that loop through, and then kind of pull the loop up to tighten this, and then pull that to tighten the loop. Yarn over, pull through 2, and then finish off my row. Okay, and you can see these are the ones that go straight across. So in this case, whether you're working right-handed or left-handed, no matter what, they're going to go straight across. And once again, with both of these kinds of stitches, it's really easy to work the next row because the top of your stitches are exactly the same as the top of your stitches are even without beads. So now what I'm going to do is I want to get these beads off of here. So I'm just going to cut my yarn, and I had a little tray that I put somewhere. I'm going to not have it right now. Okay. And now I'm just going to do another wrong side row here so that I can get on to the next one. And let's see. Oh, here we go. Ooh, okay. So Susan, one of our fab designers, and I am in the process of putting together some stuff for my fab designers on the site as well, a directory for them, says, I love embellishing crochet with beads. I'm making a Tunisian sampler scarf with beads. I cannot wait to see that, Susan. And please share it in, if you're able to. I do not know, like if it's something that has to be secret hush hush and you can't show pictures or whatever. But if you can and you want to show pictures, please do share pictures in the Crochet Foundry Makes page. Everybody, please share pictures in the Crochet Foundry Makes page. We love seeing them. On every Wednesday, we have a little work in progress post where you can show off what you've been working on. And you can always, I mean, you can make your own post anytime you want, but we do have a post specifically where you can show off your works in progress every Wednesday. And if you share on there, then you might end up with that your work and your I think I normally do like your first name and then just your initial for your last name, or initials for your last name if you have a 2-word last name. Um, and then like a little snippet of what you said and the picture in the magazine. So, but anytime, any post where what you post or say might be put in the magazine, it says so in the post. So that's why those work in progress Wednesday posts, they say that. And there's also like the Instagram posts where we ask a question and it says your answer may be reprinted in the magazine with your Instagram handle. All right, so now I'm ready to show you how to do these last 2 styles. And I think I can probably do them actually from the back because it doesn't, you know how to make a single crochet and you can still see what I'm doing whether it's in the back or the front. So I'm about to make a single crochet. I think I'm just going to go over one here. Okay, I'm about to make my next single crochet, and what I'm going to do is pull up this loop, okay? And I'm going to take out my regular crochet hook. Now I have this smaller crochet hook that is small enough to go through the hole in my bead, okay? So it's small enough to go through the hole in my bead, but it's still large enough that it can catch this loop, okay? If the hook on your hook is too small to catch the loop of your yarn, if it's only going to catch like 1 ply, if it's got plies or whatever, then it's too small. But you have to also be able to slide your bead over the hook and the yarn at once. So you have to kind of find the right size hook, and that's going to vary depending on your yarn or your bead, which is why I can't just give you an answer. All right. So now what I'm going to do is, now that I've got that loop onto my hook here and I've got the bead on the hook, I'm just going to slide the bead over the hook onto the loop. And you'll notice that I still kept them at an angle because a lot of times if you go straight like this is when you have a problem holding onto your yarn. Susan asked, did I say there was a designer page? At the beginning of the live, I had said that I'm working on a community section on the website. I'm also working on a designer section, and I will be sending out emails. I'll be sending out emails to our Crochet Foundry designers when that is set up. It'll include things like the directory of testers and maybe some tech editors or things that I think the designers will find useful, but maybe aren't things that people want posted just completely publicly. All right. So I have that bead on that loop and I put my hook, my regular hook back in. And now, because this is so big, I was making single crochets, right? When your bead is so big in comparison to your yarn, what you might want to do is make a smaller stitch. So since I made a single crochet, I'm just going to actually make a slip stitch here. So just yarn over, pull through both here. And now I'm going to make a couple single crochets. We'll just do like 2 of those. And then I'll do that again. I'm going to pull up a loop, okay? Take my smaller hook, put the bead on the smaller hook, grab the loop, and slide the bead from the hook to the loop, okay? Tighten that up. And then we have one more, and then I'll tell you where all of this will be able to be found online eventually. Okay, insert my hook in the next stitch, and I'm just making a slip stitch. Okay, and then finishing off with single crochets. Now let's talk about the row back. All right, so I chain 1, I turn. In my regular single crochets, I'm just going to place a single crochet. Now we get to this beaded one. Look, it's very clear that it's easier to go into the stitch before you hit the bead, so that's where you want to work, okay? So insert into the stitch before you see the bead, and that's where you put your stitch, and then go into the next one. Other options for this is you could do just a chain across. You could put a chain on top of that bead if you want it to be more worked within. So here, I'll do a chain across the next one. So I got to the next one. Now I'm just going to chain 1, skip that, and put a single crochet in the next stitch. Okay, and then when we make the next row, we'll see how that looks. All right, chain one. And also remember, guys, I mean, obviously the video, everything that I'm making for the that'll be on the website, on the blog and everything. The videos are going to be much better because they're overhead and everything. But if you want to come back and look at this one, the replay is always saved on YouTube and on Facebook. So now I'm going to just do single crochets back across this. And if you just look at the top and you can see the tops of your stitches, right? So we're just going to single crochet across it. And then we'll look at what that all looks like. When I get to the chain, I'm actually single crocheting. I'm single crocheting not around the chain, but I'm going through the two top loops of the chain. So I'm actually single crocheting in the chain, not around the chain. Most of the time when you put a stitch over a chain space, you go around the chain space, but in this case, I single crocheted into the chain. I just think it looks better in this situation. All right, so here we go. Let's see. So, which one did I make first? La, la, la. Did I put those on the back side? What did I do? Ah! Okay, I just came this way, so this one was worked going this way. I did put them on the back side. Okay, so this was actually the front of the work. All right, and you can see there's a tiny difference between the one that had the chain on top of it and the one that had the stitch on top of it. Okay, so this one had the stitch on top of it. This one had the chain on top of it. And then it's a bigger difference in the back. This one had the stitch on top of it. Okay, and I'll show you the other piece that has a bunch of them. This one had the chain on top of it. The chain on top of it really does sit in the middle of the work. So this is a really good technique if you want to add the beads as you're going, not have them pre-strung, and you want your work to be reversible. You'll see here, okay, here is this technique with a bunch of beads, okay? And these all had the single crochets as the next stitch, and you can see the single crochets above them. You can, the single crochets on the next row. You can see that, right? Oh, that's why I did 3 rows. All right, I confused myself, guys, sorry. Okay, so these all had the bead row, okay? And then after the bead row, just single crochet straight across. And this is the back of it. You can see how it kind of hides a little bit. So you don't really see, it's not the best for a reversible look. Whereas this one, because I did 2 rows after the beads, that's why I confused myself. I forgot I did 2 rows. So this one, I have here, you can kind of push it towards the front there. Okay, this one I have the bead with the chain above it on the row after it, and this one I have the bead with the single crochet above it on the row after it. And on the back, you can see the chain above it basically looks the same, but the single crochet above it is kind of hiding part of the bead. Okay, there's one more thing you can do, which is instead of putting that chain above it, what you can do is you can actually work a double crochet into the stitch below the bead, into the stitch that the bead was actually worked into, and that kind of puts the stitch behind the bead and really pushes the bead out. But there are so many variations that there's just so many I'm showing, right? I have one more I'm going to show you here. So just let me get to a right side row real quick. And then I'll show you the last one. And you know what, while I'm getting there, let me tell you where all of this is going to be. The tutorial, the written tutorial that goes along with this sampler is going to be in the December, it's an article in the December issue of Crochet Foundry magazine. Okay, so in order to get the December issue of Crochet Foundry magazine in the month of December, it's released on the first Friday of December. In order to get that issue in the month of December, You would have to either be a member, which you can pay monthly or annually for a membership. What's your budget? You're going to save money if you pay annually, but if the amount of the cost of the annual membership is too expensive for you, then you can still pay. You can still do it monthly. The other option, if the membership itself doesn't interest you, is you can purchase the seasonal bundle. And December is the first month of the winter season. December, January, and February are winter for the seasonal bundle. And you purchase the seasonal bundle in December. The December magazine download you'll get the download for the December magazine. And then when the January magazine happens, when it's released, you'll get an updated email with your download links, and there'll be the January one in there. And when the February one happens, you'll get the update, and it'll have the February download as well. So you'll get December, January, and February when, once you buy it in December, you'll get the December one right away, and then in January and February, you'll get them when they're released. So that's how you can get the current issue of the magazine and not get the membership. I think the membership is a better deal for you. Honestly, I think the buying them seasonally, I think, is the way that I make the most money if you're getting a current one. And it also doesn't include the membership. But buying the membership, because there's various discounts and stuff, and you get the membership in addition to the magazine is really a nice way. Oh no, I think actually the membership monthly is the one that I think the monthly membership is the one that's going to cost you the most when you divide it per month. And then next would be the seasonal bundle. So if you divide that by 3 to figure out what it is each month. And then the least expensive is if you buy the annual bundle, because the annual membership, because the annual membership, which is 12 months long, is only 10 times the cost of the monthly membership. So you get 2 months for free, which is awesome. All right, so now we are ready to do the very last technique. And then I'll finish telling you where everything is available in addition to, I am so not surprised about that email. All right, that confirms something that I thought might need to be confirmed. All right, so now what we are going to do, when I'm done showing you this one, I'll tell you the rest of the places that you'll be able to find this article, okay? So now we are ready to do the last technique here, which is similar to the technique we just did, but different. So I'm ready to make my next single crochet, and all I'm going to do is start my single crochet by inserting my hook in the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and just only leave this first loop on my crochet hook. I'm going to grab the bead on my bead hook, take this loop I pulled through, and slide the bead onto it. Woohoo! Okay. And now I'm going to put that back on my crochet hook. So this is what I have now. And all I'm going to do now is pull that loop that I just put the bead on through the original loop. And what that did is it just tossed the bead in place of the stitch. And this is a situation where, like, with this size bead, a half double crochet is more the height of the bead, so that probably would have been a better stitch to use here. If I were using a taller stitch that's taller than the bead, I might not have yarned over and pulled, I might not have pulled through, I might have yarned over and then pulled through both in order to make the stitch a little higher. If I needed it even higher than that, I would have yarned over before inserting my hook into the stitch. All right, so let me just make a couple more single crochets here. And then I'm going to show you that again. This time we're going to do it same idea, just the way we do it, we're going to do a little differently. I'm going to let go of my hook right at the beginning. So I've got my one loop on my hook. I'm ready to make my single crochet. I'm going to just kind of let my hook dangle. I'm going to put my bead on my bead hook, and I'm going to use the bead hook to insert into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and pull that loop through the bead. So, I mean, you can, it doesn't matter which hook you use to pull the loop through. Whichever one you find is easier for you, you go ahead and do. And now I'm taking the loop that with the bead, putting it on the regular crochet hook, and pulling that bead loop through the first loop that was on my hook, and now making a few single crochets. And that is this one, okay, which is this one right here. That is the front of it, okay? And then this is the back of it. So this one also works really, really well if you want something to be double-sided. And also the stitch sits, you can, if we look at it, let me try to get a nice little side view here. You can see it's the one that adds the least amount of dimension to your work, okay? Because it sits in the stitches as opposed to in front of the stitches. All right, so these two where it's just a field of single crochet, these are the ones where you pre-strung the beads. This one is the one we just did where we added it to the loop that we pulled up after we went into the stitch, pulled up, yarned over, pulled up the loop. That's where we put the bead. And then the bead was the whole stitch. We just kind of did a slip stitch after that. And then this one is the one where the bead is on that top loop that you do before you make the actual stitch. Okay, and then we just made the actual stitch a little shorter. Let's see. Woo! So this last one is the technique you like the most. Yeah, adding them as you go. I really do, most of the time, I really do prefer adding as you go, unless I'm working a ton of beads and and they're really small. You know, you kind of figure out based on what you're doing. So the tutorial that goes with this sample will be, the written tutorial will be in the December issue of Crochet Foundry. All right. And along with that, there will be links to where you can see the video tutorial on YouTube. Okay, so there will be links to the YouTube videos. So the written tutorial will be in the December issue, and in the December issue will be the links to where you can see the tutorials on YouTube. You can always in December just go to the Jessie at Home and Jessie at Home Crochet Foundry YouTube page, YouTube channel, and find the videos. I mean, you don't have to find the link in the magazine, though I, of course, prefer that you do. I really shouldn't tell you these shortcuts. Again, the first Friday of the month is when the new issue comes out. Okay? If you are a member, as soon as that issue comes out, the article will also be the entire tutorial with the videos in it, and the videos will not be through YouTube. They'll be ad-free videos, will be in the members area of Crochet Foundry. So in December, in the members area of Crochet Foundry, will be the entire tutorial with the ad-free video tutorials as well. For non-members, and there will be the magazine-ish, the magazine written tutorial, which anybody, non-members and members, can see that. The videos will be posted on YouTube, which means there's ads in them. And then in January, the written tutorial will be added onto the Crochet Foundry blog, and the videos that are linked in there will be the YouTube videos with the ads. So if you're a member, you get the ad-free tutorial, you get the ad-free videos, and you get access online to the tutorial, to the written tutorial with the ad-free videos right away as well. But the only way to get the ad-free videos is to be a member. All right. So there is all of that. Oh, look, our timing is nice. Make a good fidget mat for infants. Yes. You have to, you have to definitely be aware. I would not use these beads because as I was making the tutorial, there were little like black flecks all over my white space because like it was just like sawdusty bits of the wood coming off because the inside isn't. These are definitely not like, you know, that the kids are going to go, "Arr, arr, arr, arr," right? So you would need to find like uh, natural, undyed or naturally, you know, unfinished or naturally finished beads that are smooth. And then this, I'm thinking this yarn is probably good for chewy yarn, for like the Banat Maker yarn is probably good for things that kids might shove in their mouths, right? Because it's not fuzzy. So you're not going to have a kid who's like, blah, 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 because they have fuzz in their mouth. Plastic would be, exactly, you could use the pony beads. All right. So, Sarah, oh no, yeah. These particular, these were like really cheapo. Like I just needed a bunch of beads. But yes, so like the pony beads, okay, those would be awesome. You could totally make a really cool fidget mat, and I would do one of the pre-strung techniques for fidget mat for the kids because they do kind of, they're a little bit more pulley outy. But then these you can get from both sides and you can spin them. Who knows? Yeah, it would be fun. You could just make the whole sampler and give it as a fidget mat to a kid, to a baby, to an infant, if you made it with pony beads. I love that idea, Sarah. Smart cookie. Let's see. Let me check. I know there were a couple comments over on Instagram, which have been Janet Fairchild Scott says, "Thank you. You are welcome." Lynn's Press says, "Hello, hello." And Lynn's Press says, "I've done a couple of garlands, but I feel it's a bit off. I did one where I added the beads as I went. The other one I put the beads on a strand, then crocheted down and used puff stitch. Ooh, fun! I like that." Hello, Gabby over here. Jumped in between meetings to say hello. Hi, Gabby. I'm so glad you're here between meetings. I don't know if you're still here or not, but I'm glad you were here at least. You probably are because that's a very recent comment. So, yeah, so there we go. Techniques to add beads to your crochet. There will be, there is one pattern in the December issue that has some beads, and none of them are put on like this. It's actually, the beads are on a, here, I'll give you, if you want a quick tutorial for how to do the beads in the December issue. Okay, there's some that are on, Angeli says, "No children around my things." No thanks. I love that. I get it. I totally get it. So the beads for the Crochet Foundry pattern in December that has beads in it, they're actually put on a chain. So all you do is you start making your chain, okay? And then when you get to what's called a beaded chain, it'll say like chain 2, bead chain 1. When you get to a beaded chain, you remove your hook, you add your bead to your bead hook, and you just grab the loop, slide the bead on, and then you put your regular crochet hook on again, and that's your bead, and finish the chain. So we're going to chain 1, 2, 3, and then we need to make a bead chain, so we'll pull up a loop, add the bead onto the bead hook, grab the loop, slide the bead over the hook and onto the loop. I usually pinch the chain underneath, so while I'm doing this, I don't accidentally tighten the chain underneath and do a knot, right? Tighten my loop around my regular hook, yarn over, pull through, and that is my beaded chain, and then you make your next sets of chains, okay? And that's how they're put on in the Crochet Foundry, in the pattern in Crochet Foundry for December. But it just seemed like a really good reason to give you the tutorial. There's also some tassels where you pull the entire set of tassels through the bead, and then yeah, there's a tutorial for this because it's a whole different thing. All right, so I think we're good. So just a reminder for those of you who came in a little late, what I was saying at the beginning is this week I am working on the community tab in Crochet Foundry, which you'll be like, what community tab in Crochet Foundry? Exactly. There's not a community tab in Crochet Foundry. And I personally love the Crochet Foundry community. You guys are awesome. And so we should have a community tab. And I would like there to be a bigger community because it's such a wonderful community, right? So I'm putting a community tab in Crochet Foundry, and I totally agree with you, Monique. You definitely need to find beads. Beads are awesome. I love beadbiz.com, beadbiz.com. I know they're the bead biz ladies. I'm pretty sure that's actually their website is beadbiz.com. Let me check it out. I love their beads. I love them as people. I'm just checking to make sure that's actually the site. They're usually at sometimes they're at Vogue Knitting Live. They're usually at Rhinebeck. I'll have to get the right email then, because it's not. I mean, the right website. I'll get the right website and maybe share it with you guys next week. So they're my personal, like, if they have the beads I need, I buy it from them. If they don't have it, then I'll go out elsewhere. Because they don't have like these giant beads, but they have like all of my size like 6 and 8 beads that I use. That's usually what I use when I'm crocheting. I always get from them. Fire Mountain beads is another good one. And then like giant beads like this, you can usually get at like your local craft store. But you can also, if you can find it from an independently owned something, that's always nice. Whatever you want. So the community tab, I'm working on that this week, and it will have just here's when the sit and stitches are. Yes, Monique, Bead Biz. That's what it is. I think maybe I might have typed things in wrong because I was talking and typing all at the same time or whatever. But Bead Biz is the name of the place that I like. So the community tab, it'll have the links to the lot. It'll have the information about the lives, information about the sit and stitches. It will have any other community information I think you guys might like. It will have there'll be a link to the form for anybody who wants to be a member. It's beadbiz.org. That's why. Sarah, you rock. And I knew that. I always think I need to remember. It's beadbiz.org. Okay, so beadbiz.org. Love them. There's a form that will be linked in the community tab for anybody who wants to be a guest on the lunchtime lives. So you guys think about people who you would like to be a guest, and if you know people you would like to be a guest, once that form is up there, then I'll remind you next week when everything's already up. Have them apply to be a guest. All right. Just send them a little email and be like, hey, you should be a guest on Crochet Foundry Live. Here's the form, whatever. All right. And then for the Crochet Foundry designers, I'm working on their little area that'll have like the directories for like the testers and that sort of stuff. And then there'll be the tutorials. The tutorials that go with this will be in the December issue, and it'll be available online to the members in December. It'll be available online to non-members. In January, the non-members will always have access to the YouTube videos, which have ads. The members have access to the videos that do not have ads. Yes, it's okay. And Julie's like, blink. Awesome sauce. So I think we are good to go. Let's see, were there any more comments over here? Nope. Okay. And you guys are awesome. The live today is at 6 p.m. Eastern. It is currently almost 1 p.m. Eastern, so that is in 5 hours, which means in 1 hour you'll get the email reminder if you get the newsletter. If you don't get the newsletter and you want to join the live sit and stitch tonight, then you have 1 hour to go over to Crochet Foundry and scroll down and sign up for the newsletter, because in 1 hour there'll be a reminder sent out about the sit and stitch tonight, and the link will be in there. Sarah is going down a rabbit hole in the BeadBiz site, which is awesome. And of course, the links to the sit and stitches are always in the Facebook group, the Crochet Foundry Makes. But that only works if you're on Facebook, right? Which is why I'm trying to make sure everything is also available on the website so that people who are not on Facebook still have access to things. Okay. Um, so I think we're good. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope to see a bunch of you in 5 hours at the Sit and Stitch. And remember, you can come and go as you please during the Sit and Stitch. It's 2 hours long. Some of us stay for the whole 2 hours. Other people come and go. I like to make sure that they're a nice chunk of time in case, it happens during your dinner or putting the kids to bed or whatever. You have time to come and go. All right. So I will see you all either. Oops. What is the YouTube channel called? The YouTube is actually Jessie at Home. Jessie at Home. If you go to YouTube and you look up Jessie at Home, that is me. And it's the Jessie at Home and Crochet Foundry YouTube. They are merged. Here we go. Here is, oops, wrong link, wrong spot. Let me just toss in the link right here. And there you go. So youtube.com/@Jessie@Home, @ Jessie at Home. That is the YouTube channel. But you can always, if you don't remember that, whatever, if you just search Jessie at Home, and I'm pretty sure if you search Crochet Foundry, it will show up because I've added, it's actually called Jessie at Home and Crochet Foundry is the name of the channel. So there you go. All right. I'll see you all later. Thank you for joining me. Talk to you soon. Bye.